Hey everyone, I'm Alli Dahl from the Disrupt Education podcast.
And I'm Peter Hostrawser. The workforce is changing, but education isn't.
If students are going to thrive, they'll need to create their own opportunities like the students on this series.
To do that, they need skills. Not the I memorized who the Renaissance painters were skills, or I've read the Canterbury Tales skills. We're talking about the pragmatic skills that get you a job or let you do your own thing.
There's only one way to acquire these skills, and it ain't lectures, textbooks, or tests.
That's where Pegasus comes in. Pegasus is creating the first white-collar trade school.
Superior to college in every way, Pegasus is a career-focused, experiential program that enables high school grads to start lucrative careers 3 years earlier and 100K ahead of college grads, and can be job ready from the moment they graduate.
Pegasus has also opened doors to recent college graduates who can't find jobs and acts as a career bridge that leads from a hopeless situation to a bright future.
And employers? They get the first ever AI native entry level workforce that comes fully job ready. No more training, no more lost year productivity, just instant lift with no company resources required.
So if you're a student or an employer, go to pegasus.com and let Pegasus change your life forever. Now sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the student series on the Disrupt Education podcast.
Now, let's say someone listening right now, they feel behind or they feel like they have no idea what they want to do next. What would you tell them?
Get out there. Do something. Do something. Even if you're gonna go and work at McDonald's, you will probably get connected either with someone who's gonna give you some sort of boost in the right direction. You're gonna see the things that you want to do or don't want to do. Do you want to flip burgers for the rest of your life? Do you like the management part of it? Do you like talking to people out of it? That'll still give you a little bit more of an idea of what you want to do. I'm not concerned as far as, still making money, still getting the college dream education, whatever you want to call it. That's where the kind of back and forth goes on as far as getting a degree. My partner took a gap year in between his associates and his bachelor's because he was also like, I know what I'm doing. Do I really need this?
You have an outstanding mindset. I'm just going to say it. And I think a lot of people need to hear that and understand that. And I think it's something that we can learn as secondary work-based learning educators.
The only thing that you can do after failure is to just try to get back up and try to do something differently.
You're listening to the Disrupt Education podcast, powered by U Science. Here are your hosts, Peter Hostrawser and Alli Dahl.
Welcome to this episode of the Disrupt Education podcast. I'm Peter Hostrawser. That is Alli Dahl, and we are in it. We're in the series, Alli. But how are things going?
We are very much in the series, and you know me, Peter. I love the student series. This is the part of the podcast. Absolutely love it. This week's guest is super special because it's a returning student, and we don't always get the follow-ups. I mean, we have had them, but it's cool because this student, former student, I mean, kind of still a student, but pitched to be on this series, was like, hey, I've got more to say. And I love that, because we did put out a blast on LinkedIn, asking for students to come and say, we were asking our network, hey, who do you know? And sometimes you just got to put yourself in the ring. And I love that. I also love the fact that we had the student on 2 years ago, and there's this phrase in skydiving, and it is probably a phrase in many sports, but it's called time in the sport, and it gives you so much more perspective. And I think the same thing is gonna happen on this episode, is that this former guest has some more perspective, was on a couple years ago, said some things, maybe they have a different perspective now. So I'm excited to kind of dive in and see where it leads us.
Yeah, absolutely. She's teaching us now. We're the students. I will tell you that. We have Samanta. I'm going to say her name. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it this time. Kavaliauskaite.
That was actually pretty good. Yeah.
Solid. Okay, there we
Fair
go.
enough.
But welcome back, Sam. It's been a couple of years. Just to recap on my end, Sam was a an amazing student, somebody who really wasn't a student. You really taught me a lot about our internship program and how we can, change some things. She was always sharing your opinions and the way that hey this could be better, and that was something that I truly took with me to my next gig from Stagg High School in Palos all the way over to Naperville. 2 years ago, you were on episode 341. You've got some more things, but let's start with who you are and basically then we'll start to unwrap this thing.
Yeah, so my name's Sam. I am currently gonna be a junior in college, no longer a freshman. Crazy. I'm transferring over to UIC in the fall after just finishing my associates at Moraine Valley. Just for basic gen eds to get that done and over with, which was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life, which we can unpack that in a little bit. But now I do marketing at Abundant Health Chiropractic. I'm the sole marketing manager and I run all things marketing there from SEO to advertisements to social media to email marketing. I mean, I'm the marketing department in itself. I've been able to expand a couple of different things outside of that as far as like a part-time job. My partner, he started a detailing business. So I've been able to basically be in the whole business development stage of things, which was really cool and really neat, of seeing how to grow everything and the legality behind things and all the nit and gritty that goes into it, which is way more than I ever thought it would be. But yeah, that's a little bit of what I've been up to.
Just think about where you were 2 years ago and now where you are now. I'm sure you couldn't have anticipated the the spider web that you're building,
No.
because if we kind of rewind the tapes, like you said in your episode 2 years ago, like in high school you originally thought you wanted to go into like medicine, surgery, and then as you kind of demystified that before you left high school, you were like, I don't want to be in school for another however many years, and you kind of pivoted. But how have you felt like those pivots hitting since high school, or again with that perspective piece, that you have 2 more years into your adult working life?
Funny enough, 2 years seems like nothing now. And I feel like if I really wanted to do a longer like post-grad program, I think I could have done it. Not gonna lie. Because I feel like, for one, the time moves by so fast the older that you get. And that sounds really cliche coming from a 20-year-old. But like, truly, the older I get and the more responsibilities I have on my plate, I literally don't have time to just like sit around and do nothing and just watch like the clock move. I'm always actively doing something. So whether it's a good day or a bad day, like the day is already gone. Um, and I think that I also lucked out by doing the route where you go to community college first and then go to an actual university, because that in itself, I had so much flexibility with Moraine Valley. Like it was a great school to me where I was able to dive in, figure out kind of what I really wanted. I mean, it let me really solidify that I want marketing as my degree. Um, but then I think just now that I only have 2 years left, I'm like, wow, I like, let's go get another degree. Like, let's go like do more things or internships or post grad or something just beyond this. Because I feel like once I'm going to be out of school, there's going to be a little bit of direction that's going to be lost. But then I also know that school's preparing me for that as well, if that makes sense. It's a little redundant and kind of all over the place, but I feel like there's just a lot coming at you at a very fast like pace, more than you really kind of realize it.
Along with that, like as an educator of teenagers, you can really see these underlying like aptitudes because you know your students. And I knew you always had this. You've always had like you were never afraid to take chances, to reach out, and to change direction. And so like I still think you may go into medicine. I don't know. I still think who knows. It sounds like you're still there. But what do you think? I really like that you utilize the community college aspect to give you more experiential learning opportunities. Can you kind of unpack that? Because you had a, you knew you were going to go in, you're getting your basics, your associate's degree, but you also had this flexibility there and you felt okay. Was that a cost thing? Was that just like the way that community college was put together? Can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, so I didn't want to commit to a university because leaving high school, I was still unsure of what I wanted to do. I had a general idea, like I liked business, but then like you guys said, I completely forgot that I even wanted to go into medicine. But then like there was also always different passion. Like I like to be a master of all trades.
Mhm.
So it was one of those things where it was if I couldn't commit to one trade, then it's like what do I do? I don't want to go to university, drop 100 grand, and then regret the entire thing because I got the wrong degree. That's what happened to my cousin. Um, Community college, on the other hand, was amazing because I took majority online classes. So it was my self-paced situation where if like there was minimal needing to go um into actual school. So I had all this free time of when I wanted to get my classes done, when I wanted to go work, and when I wanted to explore other things. With that being said, cost was also a huge factor. I got community college completely for free. So it was kind of a no-brainer, and I feel like a lot of people underestimate how cheap community college is, whether you have the financial aid portion of it or not. But even if your parents make, $1 million, like there's still going to be different scholarships and grants that go into it that can help you just loosen the load a little bit if you're the primary person that's taking care of those bills. Um, with that being said, though, as far as all the free time that I had, so back in high school, around the area where I interviewed with you guys, I believe, I don't recall, but I know that I was a math tutor at some point.
Mhm.
And then I transitioned out of that because it was just not the thing for me, and I started working at Abundant Health. And at first it was just another medical job where I was just working like an office receptionist. However, my boss, I love her to death. She's become family at this point, but she has allowed me to basically take her small business and experiment with it. Like, there has been no greater privilege than to basically get a marketing budget, get all the tools that you need, get a small business that basically has nothing, like no online presence other than like a logo, and be like, hey, this is what you can make out of it. Let's see what you can do. So having the free time with community college and being able to be flexible with my job and whether I'm working from home or working from school or working from my job, like I always had the flexibility to delve into more things. And that allowed me to I got a certification as a nutrition coach because I was like, maybe I want to still do something more health-based. Played around a little bit with that. Tried starting a little bit of something, but then I just realized that's not my thing for me. People are way more unmotivated than you think. And then I was a personal trainer for a little bit alongside with it to see if I could grow it maybe a little bit with more support. Still wasn't my thing. Then that's when my partner decided to open his detailing business. So I was also still on online school, working my part-time job and helping him start up this business all at the same time, which I mean, looking back at it was better experience than I've got anything at school.
You heard it here first. But so what's interesting about the directions you're going is that like you're saying, oh, okay, that's better than school, but you're in school and you're going to continue to university. So I'm curious, how does school and what you're learning in school fit into, like starting up this marketing for a chiropractic business and like working on another startup with a detailing business, right? Like all of these things, like, how is school impacting or playing a role in that? Like, do you even need it? I just got to ask the question because you're like, well, the life experience is the better teacher, but I'm still going to school. And I know our listeners are going to be like, where's that juxtaposition fit for you?
Yeah. So associates was an associates just because I that's the building ground before going to university, but I picked UIC specifically, one, also due to the cost. I don't want a huge amount of student debt after leaving and graduating. But also the connections. UIC is known for connections and it's known to get you connected to people that are going to get you in the right path, whether I care about the material or not. Unfortunately, everything's online and I feel like a lot of the marketing stuff, I mean, Unfortunately, marketing is becoming more and more oversaturated as a career goal because people are realizing how easy it is to learn these things online and build from it. And now that AI is into the place as well, I mean, AI is doing half the things that humans are able to do. So it's more so, can you manipulate the AI or not? Um, with that being said, I still think a degree is a great safety net. God forbid all plans fail, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D fails. I can go into the corporate world. God forbid. That is not my long-term goal. But again, the time has flown by so fast. I've gotten the first two for free, these next two heavily discounted. Um, it's a no-brainer to just get it. I still am gonna have flexibility with it now that I've built a good rapport with my boss and I know that she trusts me working on from home and stuff like that. So I'm not concerned as far as, still making money, still getting the college dream education, whatever you want to call it, but that's where the kind of back and forth goes on as far as getting a degree. My partner, he actually took a gap year in between his associates and his bachelor's because he was also like, I know what I'm doing. Like, do I really need this? But then it was also one of those things where we were like, safety net, God forbid, you don't know what can happen in life. Might as well have something. It gets done and over with quickly. Might as well get it done while you're young and you have the time.
What I'm also hearing there, and I hear the safety net thing. What I heard was more networking. Like I'm going to use them because it's cheap and it's a huge network. I think it's okay to say. I don't know if I'm off base there, but and
No,
I
you're
get the
not.
safety net, but I think in the future you're going to be like, yeah, I just built a crazy network with UIC. It's funny because I actually hang out with people who graduated from Stag and UIC, so
Yeah.
where you graduate high school from, and going into UIC. I think that's great. If I'm going to get a car that is worth $100,000 for $5,000 and be able to use it, why not, right? And I think that's awesome. One thing that I wanted to kind of go back on a quick piece here, because as an entrepreneur myself, as I started my businesses and different things like that back in the day and did a lot of failing and failing forward, one of the things that I do have a business minor as a bachelor's degree, and then I had to go back and get a business major for the business education piece. You are absolutely right. I have learned so much starting or working with people starting a business. What were some of those things that you've learned that no class could have taught you, not only in the marketing portion of, in the medical field, but also um, in your partner's business?
For one, sales was a really for me, because I'm a talkative person, it was rather easy or to learn of just kind of like the psychology, borderline manipulation stuff that goes into like selling in general. I think that portion taught me a lot because if you can sell anything and not take no for an answer, I think that can get you very, very, very far in life. Um, and I think looking more so in the marketing specific aspect of things, I mean, it got me connected to a lot of individuals who are already in the field, and I basically just learned from them. So, for example, for Google Ads, that's something I currently run for the clinic, and I mean, you're looking at the screen and it's all of these numbers, CPCs, CTRs, and I'm just like looking at it like this is literal gibberish. And then like Google provides you free services where you can meet, as long as you're paying for ads, you can meet with different specialists and they'll go through it with you. So I started going through the motions. There's a really great website that my mind is completely blanking on, but there's a bunch of like crash courses on there that you can just hop on, watch a couple videos. It gets you a general introduction. And majority of marketing is basically like professional, not scientific experimentation, where like you're looking at a bunch of different charts and you're saying, okay, are these words making sense? Are these not making sense? And from, I mean, not to say it takes common sense, but like it kind of does take common sense at the end of the day. Like, are the numbers higher? Are they low? Like, you do the math there. So I think marketing was a gradual self-taught thing. But I mean, it has built me a huge database of information that I can reference whenever, especially for future jobs or gigs or whatever I want to build outside of school. And then with my partner's business, I mean, that went through a complete like 180 because it was truly seeing the backside of business budgeting, legality, going in, getting DBAs, EINs, all those things where it was like, wow, like, okay, this is like really legit. We have to take this seriously and not mess this up for tax purposes and legal purposes and getting insured on the business. Like, I mean, the only way to learn how to do that is to literally go out and do it. And if you mess up, like, go back and fix it. And you can't go back and do anything else or go to a 16-week course and they're going to teach you, okay, step one, you're going to do this for week one. Step two, you're like, that's such a waste of time because you can get that done. 16 weeks of education, you can get done in a week if you just go out and do it.
That's what I'm saying. Like you are doing it like while in school. That's why like the juxtaposition here is really interesting because like I totally hear the like, the safety net and everything. And yet what you're saying though is that the experiences of like the actual work you're doing is maybe teaching you more lessons or more like moving you forward faster than the timetable of a 16-week college course. It's just something that when Peter and I, we talk about with adults, right? Like who are in their careers and everything, they're always saying like, oh yeah, students need work-based learning. They need apprenticeships. They need jobs to give them that experience. And school should provide that, right? But you're like in school, but then you're getting your own
Providing it.
experiences.
Yeah.
So it's like besides the network and everything, does school help place like because you have the work, you have the business. Does it help put meaning, like more meaning on those experiences, or like because you're already doing it, not that school's providing that, you got this marketing management, you and your partner started this business, but like how does school kind of layer into that work that you're already doing?
I think every once in a while there'll be a snippet of some new information. And I'm always open-minded to learn a different perspective of it because maybe I'm taking a shortcut and maybe the reason why, my emails that are going out that are supposed to be marketing something aren't doing so well and maybe that class will cover it. Maybe. A lot of my gen ed classes right now have not been even solely focused on that. I mean, I'm doing like finite math where it looks like it's like literally made up numbers. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, how is this going to help me in marketing? But I think that there is some connection for one, the discipline aspect of it, where you still have to stay disciplined. There's still a timeliness manner to everything. There's still you want proficiency. You're not aiming for a C just to get a C because you're still worried about how that's going to affect your GPA. You want that A plus mindset through all of it, whether you're in school or in business. Um, but there's been a couple of courses that I've taken that have been like, okay, like this is a new vocabulary word that maybe I didn't know. Or maybe there's a new concept that got very briefly introduced to me when I'm reading a textbook or something, and now I have more time to kind of get into that myself. So I think there's pieces and like crumbs that are tossed here and there, and it's more so about as a student, like what can I take from this? Because I mean, a lot of people, especially when you're at a community college, they're like, okay, I just want to get this done and over with. Like, I give me the A's, give me the degree, whatever, like let me go out. But I think that if you take the most out of it, where you're still looking for those crumbs of information and applying it to what you're trying to do on the outside, I think that makes the experience a little bit more well worth it.
You have an outstanding mindset. I'm
Thanks.
just going to say it. And I think a lot of people need to hear that and understand that. And I think it's something that we can learn as secondary work-based learning educators is it's a yes and what you're describing is a yes and, right? And what I really like out of your conversation here, and I'm very excited to hear what UIC is like. So, Allie, if you can mark on the calendar 2 years from now when we have her on again, but I think like going through these things, you're constantly asking, not in a negative way, but how is this going to benefit me, right? And I think students need to get selfish like that and not argumentative with the professors or the educators we had that conversation several times in class. You're like, okay, I got to do this. Okay, I get this. What if we did it this way? Or I see what you're doing here. There were times, and I can tell you, Allie, there were times when Sam looked around the class and like, what the hell is everybody else doing here? You guys,
Mhm.
you have something here that you can build yourself. And I distinctly remember those moments. And so, like, as you know, the experience itself becomes a classroom, but the classroom as also a place where you can start to understand, like you said, terms and different things like that. Almost everybody I know who has gone into an MBA got the MBA so they could speak like C-suite people. Like that's a high percentage of people that I know. And it wasn't about like the the work or the homework and different things like that or the project. It was about the terms and understanding how to speak that language. And I heard you say that already going into your junior year of undergrad. That's amazing. So, with all of that being said, and you know, I have described you as a high school student, and you did talk a little bit about going into Moraine, but how did actually doing all this work help you understand yourself better?
Well, I think for one, I mean, looking at like community college based, I think it made me realize just, I don't know how to nicely say this, but like so many people are stupid. Like, I don't know how else
What's
to
the
say this,
book? I'm surrounded by stupid people.
but like genuinely, like, I mean, community college isn't like a great comparison because a lot of people are there when different life circumstances overtake or they're just going there to make their family like proud. There's a lot of different circumstances where it's not the brightest bunch that are there. However, like I think this experience in it all was just kind of like, wow, like I know what I'm capable of because I also get to see the individuals that I'm competing against in this world, and I know that I'm gonna win. Like it sounds a little cocky, but I mean it's the truth where I feel very confident in myself knowing that especially again like I mentioned previously, like marketing is becoming a more and more saturated with field where people think like, oh yeah, marketing's easy, it's just making TikToks and posting them and all that stuff. But like considering I've been in the nit and gritty of it for 2 years and I get to look around my school and look at the competition and I'm like, you guys got nothing. Like I'm gonna be like a president of like a huge marketing agency and like I'm not gonna hire you because like that's and I think the confidence aspect is one of the things that it's taught me a lot of because I mean seriously, you look around and you're just kind of like, oh my God, like what are we doing here? But I think another thing that it taught me about myself was for one, I'm a very type A person, and I had to learn that through college because a lot of things don't go as planned, and the older you get, the more responsibilities you get. Things will never go as to plan. And I've had to learn a lot about how to switch courses, not take things so seriously, not take things to heart, and be able to be more flexible and open-minded to different situations, I guess you could say. Um, Especially being in a business field where, I mean, like right now I'm the bottom of the food chain. Like I'm nothing in the business world. So I think that having that perspective of confidence, but also knowing your place has also been brought to my attention and
Hmm.
the different things I have to work to get to the next tier of the food chain of my type A-ness and my type like to be in control of everything and pitch like everything has to be perfect and all that type of stuff. So
This episode of the Disrupt Education podcast is brought to you by UScience BrightPath, the next generation platform helping students make personalized decisions as they move from education to career.
If we truly want students prepared for life after high school, we can't rely on outdated, interest-only guidance to navigate a dynamic career future. UScience starts with aptitude discovery, helping students build a deeper understanding of who they are and how they're wired to succeed. From there, students create plans, develop in-demand skills, validate them through industry-recognized certifications, and connect directly with employers.
The result? Intentional pathways with real opportunity.
UScience is the only platform bringing all of this together at scale which is why we at Disrupt Education Podcast are proud to partner with them.
Learn more at uscience.com/disrupteducation-podcast. Request a demo and let them know you heard about UScience right here.
We loved having you on 2 years ago because you say exactly you'll shoot us straight, which we love. And the same thing is here. You have enough perspective, and that's kind of what I was getting at when I opened. Like, time is such a perspective builder. Time in the sport, time in school and business and everything gives you perspective that you wouldn't already have. I wonder what you would think going back and listening to your episode 2 years ago. I re-listened to it just like a couple days ago so that I could be fresh for this one, and I can hear the growth in 2 years. And people tend to overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in like 5 to 10. And so I think, but 2 years, I think it even starts to get there. Like, I don't think you would have thought where you would be now 2 years ago, because you were like posting on LinkedIn, like looking for internships and looking for market. You were like, you were putting yourself out there, and now I don't know many 20-year-olds that are marketing manager for a small business and have been for a while. To just kind of like that experience is the best teacher, in my opinion. And so I'm curious with even in the last 2 years, with being responsible for results versus like when we had you on 2 years ago, you didn't really have that responsibility. It was all like projecting, like, oh, I will be doing this. Now you've been doing it. So it's like kind of like, what has changed since some of these things, the chiropractic marketing and your detailing business, what has changed since stuff has become your responsibility?
I think accepting failure is just inevitable. I think that's one of the biggest things of like sometimes money's gonna go to waste and like sucks. Like the only like there's no other way to say it, but it's like the only thing that you can do after failure is to just try to get back up and try to do something differently. And I think that being able to look back at like what you've done and being able to be like, okay, like where did this go wrong? And knowing that it's just you. I think honestly, the fact that it's been just me doing a lot of this stuff is so much better. Like I know long term, like teams obviously are super important and who you have on your boat is super important. However, starting out and being on my own kind of lonely island of being able to figure it out has let me have a lot of introspective like in look of like my skills, what I'm capable of, what do I need more help with in comparison to if I was working under a team that um multiple people were responsible for multiple different things, then I feel like it would be harder to pinpoint of what's working, what's not. Um I think also it's just like for me, like the way that my mind works is that marketing is just a big experiment. So I've had to learn, like I previously mentioned, is to just not take things so seriously. When it comes to my partner's business, obviously we have a way smaller budget, so it's a little bit more finicky with how much damage I can do with how little results and vice versa. Like, okay, if we're, putting $100 into an ad in comparison to the clinic of $1,000 into an ad, we're working on different scales here as well, which there's a lot of pressure involved into it. Um, However, again, by being by myself and being able to look at my results in real time and knowing that it's just me that's in control of this is far better than if it was divided and conquered. Because now I know, okay, this portion's working, this is what I'm doing wrong. Maybe there's a disconnect between these two portions of marketing, and it's kind of just a big puzzle piece experiment that's going on in my mind.
The accountability, that's one. And then
Yeah.
you're also seeing like different scales of business, which is that's the business educator in me, Allie. I'm just like I'm going through all these
I
things, but
know.
that's what you're pulling from this. And I really enjoy the fact that you have developed this again, like your self-actualization, like you know who you are. And from the last time, we talked until now, you're understanding even other people, right? A lot better in how you come to this. I think one of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn in this world is what you really care about and what you want to do. Nobody cares as much as you, and they won't. And so that's a difficult thing, especially for somebody like you who has a ginormous competitive advantage and a competitive nature, which I love. And also understanding, okay, how do I work with people? And yeah, we're going to. I would have never heard you say 2 years ago or even in high school, oh yeah, there's going to be money that's going to be lost and we're going to learn from it. That would have drove you nuts
Yeah.
as a senior in high school.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of that I think is attributed to number one, you're constantly curious, which is probably the biggest factor of success in anybody, right? You're curious and you're understanding, but you also have already learned how to network early. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about, you've been pretty intentional about sharing your story on LinkedIn, and you were one of the early ones. I remember you. We didn't even go over the lesson in high school, and you had your LinkedIn set up, and she was already running. So I want to go back to that. Even going through college and through your associate's degree a couple years. What advice like would you give students? There's so many students who just think networking is only what professionals do. Like, what advice would you give them?
I think networking is highly underrated. I think it's also I will say networking can be industry dependent. Meaning like if you are more in the business side of things, like LinkedIn, like A plus plus. Um, I mean, even having the connections of people that you can look back to is so important. I went on a skydiving trip where I went skydiving and it was awesome. Um,
Yep.
and I was this was through UIC. It was like they gave me a student discount to be able to do this with them through their adventure club. And I mean, we're in this van of people that I don't know. By the end of it, we know everyone's major. We know who I can reference later down. I mean, there was a guy that was post grad and he was like, I'm literally a mathematician. If you ever need help with math, like just let me know. And I think that people underestimate like it doesn't always have to be a business thing. Like it doesn't always have to be even like a transactional thing where like feel like you have to give something and they have to give you something back. And I think that that's what networking is. I mean, it's more than just that. It's helping each other out. By the end of the trip, everybody was connected on LinkedIn. And it's like if I ever need to reference someone for the specific field in the future, like I know exactly who I can go to. And even outside of LinkedIn of just personal networking, and getting people's phone numbers and stuff like that. I mean, if you learn one individual, another example I have, I do kickboxing and Muay Thai. And the owner of that establishment, one of the coaches, they painted the entire ceilings black and it looked really, really good. And then at my office, my boss was like, "Oh my God, I want to paint the ceilings black. Like, how do we do this?" Da, 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 da. Well, I got my boss connected and my coach connected, and now they're connected, and now they're able to talk like, okay, how do you paint? How do you do these minor construction things? So I feel like connecting, one, doesn't have to be transactional. You can always give something, be equally as curious and give people as much information as they want as well, as long as obviously you're within well means. Um, Stay curious about different fields. I mean, I'm still connecting with people constantly, especially in like the medical sales field to see if that's still, if I want to tie both of those things in to see if I can get, shadow them and if I can get internships through them. I got an internship through LinkedIn, literally just by connecting and by looking at a bunch of different people's feeds. I got an internship that was paying me like a lot of money for doing a whole lot of nothing. I was running a meme account for them. Great company. They're a digital finance company that works with like cryptocurrency. And they're still doing really, really well for themselves. I think those are the main three of like there's so much possibilities out there if you just use all the features.
Mhm.
And you can
Mm.
go a long ways with it no matter what industry you're in.
I'm sure you, for the skydiving trip, you were bonded because y'all went through something crazy as well. It was funny 'cause Sam messaged me before with like asking questions and getting hyped up, which was cool. I love when people, want to share their experiences. And I know how big of a deal your first jump is, as I get to do that with people all the time. But uh, it again, that perspective of how you tie that into something else is it's an aptitude that you have, like being a connector, that not everyone has, Sam. So uh use that to your advantage, being able to kind of piece things together, because not everyone sees those opportunities and then sees like, oh, a ceiling was a block here. I'm gonna pocket this information. It looked cool. And then I hear about someone else talking about it, and oh, I'm gonna connect those people. That's not like a skill set everyone has, and it's cool to see you develop it and put it to use in different ways. Or like you remembered, yeah, I skydive, and so you were like, let's chat about it. And so that's pretty cool. Uh, so besides like the networking piece, are there skills that you think like high school students should uh kind of be thinking about? If you were like, I would go back and I would tell myself I should have started working on this earlier. And because it's really benefiting me now. Again, that perspective piece. What would you say to help current young people or educators working with young people?
Learn how to talk. I think talking and conversations get you far further than anything else. And I think the ability to connect with an individual is really important. I am an only child, so I always talk. I know how to talk. It's an easy thing. I know how to engage with people because I'm an only child. Like I grew up that way. One of the things my dad with me that one of the things my dad did with me growing up was cell phones were not allowed in the car. What you had to do is you had to have a conversation. Doesn't matter what it was about. It would be like 7 in the morning. He's driving me to school, and he's like, just talk about anything. Like, just see what can we connect on? Like, talk about our days. What are your plans? All this type of stuff. And that in itself of learning how to just literally talk to a person as a person, not like, okay, you get this fancy schmancy corporate job, and they're gonna give you a script to read off line for line, trying to sell, $1,000 to a $1,000 ad to a person, whatever the case is. But learning how to actually connect with an individual and ask more questions and just find something in common, I guess you could say, between a person makes everything so much easier. I mean, I'm thinking even just also I like examples, but even thinking about just yesterday, a woman called asking for a detail. And at first she's like, "Oh, like I don't know if I want to spend that much money." And I'm like, "Okay, well tell me what you're calling about. Like what are your concerns?" Da 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 da. And then she talks about how her cat peed in her car. And I was like, "You're not gonna believe this. The funniest thing ever happened to me. Me too. That literally we picked up my cat from the vet. First thing she did was pee all over the car and all over me." I was like, "You wouldn't believe it." And then she was like, "Oh my God, no way. So you guys know how to deal with this. Now I trust you because we have something in common. Okay, I'm gonna go purchase a $200 detail from you." And she doesn't know us. Like she's seen a website, but what's a website? So it's like the biggest skill from literally like to teach anyone, whether you're like middle school, high school, in college, whatever the thing is just learn how to talk and learn how to make a connection because it goes so far. It goes so far in your personal life and connecting with other individuals and business and all that stuff.
I love not that the cat peed in your car. I don't love that, but like, yeah, that's a great connector and just finding these pieces that people really kind of understand and it started like Allie, you were saying, like, when you share an experience. I did a static line jump back in the day and it was in college. And I remember everybody in that van. That's when you brought it up. I remember everybody who was in the van, and unfortunately, some people didn't get to jump that day because the weather turned really quick. But yeah, that's interesting. Here's a fun question. If you waited until you were fully ready before starting, like everything, where would you be today?
Nowhere. I mean, if you're scared doing something and you put it off without at least dipping your toes in a little bit. Like, what's to say you're not gonna hate that career, or what's to say you're gonna have to go back and do it all over again? I mean, there's nothing more valuable than experience and being able to do the things that, even if you don't love it, but just trying stuff out. Um, I think that without this, I mean, I think I would still be somewhere. Okay, I'm not gonna be a drama queen and say nothing. Um, but I think that I would be an average individual. I would be an average individual who doesn't take advantage of the experiences that they're given. That's the best way I could put it, if that answers
Mm.
the question.
Yeah, it does. And I think, one of the questions that we ask a lot of students, and I'm probably guilty of this, is, what career should you choose? Like like a senior in high school, what's a better question? What's a better question we should ask?
I that's one of the things I was actually thinking about like a couple months ago, where I was like, how do we put that much pressure on like a high school version of you being like, okay, what do you want to do the rest of your life? Like, gun to your head, what do you want to do? And it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know what I wanted to do. Um, I think a great question is like kind of cliche and kind of corny, because I think this is also a common question, but like, what do you love to do? I think that's one thing. I think another thing is how much work are you willing to put into it? I think another one is like I think sometimes the personality tests are somewhat good if a person really has a hard time like self-reflecting on what they want to do. But I think that like asking like who are you? Start there. Like start as like a building block, like who do you think you are? And like I think a good another, because I'm a very type A person, but another great thing to do is like timelines. Like 1 year from now, what do you envision yourself? 5 years from now, what do you envision yourself? 10 years from now, what do you envision for yourself? Um, I think those would be some starting points. I think it's again, I think even putting that much pressure on an 18-year-old is like I think it's too much, because I look back at it and I'm like, I don't know how people expect someone to choose a career, or at least maybe a go-getter like me. Like if you put that type of pressure on them, like I would crack under pressure myself. Um, that's a really good question.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I would start with just who are you as an individual? Like looking into their interests, looking into um the capabilities that they have right now, and like the core values that they have right now. I think those two are also really good, because depending on the capabilities that you have right now, like do we need to start from ground A and you need to start working on that like ASAP, or do you have something tangible that you can make something out of? And another thing of how much are you willing to do for that? Because like I said last time that I was on, I knew that I could not do a medical. I mean, looking back at it now, could I do a medical degree? Of course I could do a medical degree. But like looking back at it of like how much are you willing to do for it?
Mhm.
And going for the community college route. If you can do community college, take advantage of it. It gives you 2 more years to figure it out.
I don't know if you have heard of U Science, but like I would be really interested in your U Science results, because you're talking about like, oh, personality tests can kind of give you something. What if it was like I think you know yourself, but I'm just thinking your personality type, if you knew your aptitudes and could put it into even deeper language than you already have, I think it would just send you to the next level. I'm gonna send that to you so that
Yeah,
you
please.
can I now I'm curious, because you're speaking to a lot of these things that Peter and I have done it, and we think it's like the best tool out there for exactly what you're getting at, right? Like, what's a better question than what do you want to be? It's like, who are you? Like,
Yeah.
what are you naturally good at? What are you capable at? What are you apt at? We think it's a better question.
Mhm.
So it's cool that you think it's basically a better question, and it takes a lot of the pressure off, because I think what you're getting at is just understanding who you are. You, I think, have a natural bend for that self-awareness piece that not everybody has. And then you can also like you just see this bigger spider web that again, that perspective, and I think you've built it up. You've built more of the web in the last 2 years, which is cool to hear and see. So now let's say someone listening right now, they feel behind or they feel like they have no idea what they want to do next. What would you tell them?
get out there. Do something. Do something. Like, no matter, I mean, like, even if you're gonna go and like work at McDonald's, you will probably get connected either with someone who's gonna give you some sort of boost in the right direction. You're gonna see the things that you want to do or don't want to do. Do you want to flip burgers for the rest of your life? Do you like the management part of it? Do you like talking to people out of it? Like that'll still give you a little bit more of an idea of what you want to do. But getting out there, that's really the best piece of advice, whether you're behind or not. Getting out there, I mean, even if you are behind, getting out there then really solidifies what you want to do next so that you don't keep falling behind. I think getting out there also makes you more confident in your decision. Um, and I think it gives you irreplaceable experience of whatever your career field is, or whatever it is what that you want to do with your life.
Get uncomfortable. That's you always said it. Samantha, we know that a big networker and a connector, so we want to connect people with you. How can our audience connect with you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Name is Samanta Kavaliauskaite. If you want to drop that somewhere, go
I
for it.
will.
Long, lengthy name. And then you can also follow both of the businesses that I work for. There's Abundant Health Chiropractic. You'll see all of the reels and really weird stuff that we do on there. And then you can also follow us at Max Shine Every Time. Also both on Instagram. So great way to get connected with me if you have personal questions or want any of the benefits that I'm involved in.
Awesome. Want to thank you again for being that go-getter and reaching out and say, hey, I got more to say. It fits right in. You've always taught us and our listeners and myself personally, definitely, about how to be a better education, person in the CTE world, work-based learning world as well. So thank you so much for sharing your stories today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Till 2 years from now.
Yes, we will be back in 2 years when we see what happens
On the clock.
next. I just want to round out, Samantha, your journey it's really exactly why we continue to challenge the traditional ideas that students need to have everything figured out before they graduate high school. It doesn't come from having the perfect plan. It comes from exploring, building skills, meeting people, and most importantly, creating opportunities. And the career you discover might not exist yet because, you might be the person creating it. So we want to thank everybody for listening to this week's Disrupt Education Podcast. Want to give you a reminder, please check out disrupteducationpodcast.com. And again, there's so many more of these, but what we love hearing from our students and previous students and now young professionals, because it gives us that pathway of improvement, not only as learners, but educators and mentors. So thank you all for listening. For Alli Dahl, I'm Peter Hostrawser. Hey, we'll catch you next week as the series continues. Thanks for tuning in to the Disrupt Education Podcast. If this episode sparked an idea, challenged your thinking, or helped you see education differently, well, that's exactly why we're here. We're highlighting real stories and bold ideas shaping the future of learning. A quick thank you to our sponsor, UScience BrightPath, the next generation platform helping students make personalized decisions as they move from education to career. If you're serious about connecting students to real opportunity, head to uscience.com/disrupteducation-podcast. Request a demo and let them know you heard about UScience right here on the Disrupt Education Podcast. For more episodes and clips and ways to connect, you can always visit disrupteducationpodcast.com. I'm Peter Hostrawser. Keep disrupting. We'll see you next time on the podcast.